Hello there guys, Bilbo10000 here, bringing you another special re-rate episode of Rate Their Chances, the series where I rate the chances for potential newcomers making it into the DLC Fighter Pack roster for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, as inspired by the thread of the same name over on Smashboards, which you can find in the description. So, we've had E3 come and go, and with it, two new characters join the fray. We have the hero from Dragon Quest and Banjo-Kazooie from the game of the same name. In my last re-rate episode, I rated Erdrick and Banjo as the two most likely candidates to get into the game via the next reveals. While Steve was rated higher at 100%, I did state that I was keeping him there because in my initial rating, I said I wouldn't change his rating until a Microsoft rep was revealed because of the meme. And my opinions definitely changed. Right before E3, I predicted Banjo and Erdrick for E3 as the most likely reveals to happen, and even though Erdrick was a skin for the Luminary, I'd say I was pretty damn successful at judging which characters made it in, and I've had a pretty good track record overall in this series, both in DLC and base roster. But as such, where do we go from here? Well, firstly, we're going to have to do a bit of cleaning up. You see, I'm personally of the opinion that we'll probably be getting one DLC rep from each company, meaning I don't see us getting another Square or Microsoft rep going forwards. As such, please don't be surprised by some of my re-rates, though if you personally believe that a company's going to get more than one rep, more power to you, that's completely fair. So, without further ado, let us begin. First up, which characters have been knocked out of contention based on these reveals? Well, there are 6 characters that I think I can safely say will definitely not be appearing in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as DLC playable fighters, though they could still come in as playable costumes. And these characters are Sora, Cuphead, Geno, Solaire of Astora, Chrono, and Steve. Sora, Geno, and Chrono all belong to Square Enix, and while this will certainly hold out hope that Square will get another character out to Sakurai, I don't think it's a realistic expectation. With this DLC, Nintendo can reach out to more companies, more people for partnerships, and using 2 DLC slots on the same company kind of hinders this potential goal. This is also why Steve and Cuphead are out, and why I probably won't be rating Master Chief in the future, because they belong to Microsoft in some way, shape, or form. Had Microsoft gotten 2 reps, I feel it would have made sense to reveal both of them at E3, simply because Microsoft could then actively be involved in the reveal in some way. I just don't see a Microsoft character showing up at a September Direct, for example. Of course, if you believe we could get another character from these companies, as I said earlier, more power to you. I hope what you want comes to pass, but based solely on how this DLC pack has operated so far, I personally don't see it happening. And that's okay. Differing opinions make speculation a lot more fun. But if you leave a dislike on the video just because I have a different opinion to you, that's kinda petty. I'm just throwing that one out there. And as for Solaire of Astora, he's the one character on my list that I feel just isn't realistic or interesting enough to actively pique Sakurai's interest. It's just not happening from him. I know some people have recently jumped on the Artorias bandwagon ever since the Google leak, and everyone infamously knows my thoughts on him, but if I do another video for this series, he'll be rated, I'm sure, and I can give my full thoughts there. So now we come to the characters who are still actually in contention, and this is actually quite tough because I could see any of the rest of the characters in this series being the next representative for DLC, so figuring out a list of worst to best might be a little bit difficult. It's also worth noting that aside from one character, everyone who got a 0% in the last re-rate episode is still at a 0%. I will get to the character that has been revived later on. First up, we've got Ezio from Assassin's Creed, who has gone from 31% all the way down to a 5%. The main reason for Ezio's loss of percent is that I feel a character of his quality would have been an E3 reveal, as the fanbase for Assassin's Creed doesn't really cross over with Nintendo all that much. Because of this, revealing him at a Nintendo Direct, or even the Game Awards for this year, wouldn't really have the same impact. It also doesn't help that this year, Ubisoft had no real connection to Nintendo in their announcements at E3. Next up, taking a massive drop, and I'm so sorry to say this, is Lloyd Irving from the Tales of Symphonia series, going from 55% to 10%. My main reasoning behind Lloyd's drop is actually more to do with the character and his moveset. We just got a sword-based JRPG protagonist with the hero from Dragon Quest and his 3 Sword Alt boys. Sakurai is all aware about how critical people can be about these sword boys in Smash, and while Lloyd probably does have more to make him stand out, you can't ignore the fact that his main gimmick is dual-wielding swords. It feels like his niche got covered with Dragon Quest, and the hero really hurts his chances of getting in. Jibanyan rises to a 13% next, getting a 3% boost, simply due to being a level 5 property. If Banjo is our only Western rep, which could be the case, even if I believe we are getting 2 representatives from the West, then it would make sense for Sakurai to either approach an existing company for a character, or get a new company on board that has earned their spot. Level 5 fits that bill, and Jibanyan is a possibility. Though given Yokai Watch hasn't really been mainstream popular for a few years, my gut is telling me Jibanyan isn't as likely. 2B, Dante, and Scorpion all remain in the same positions as before, with 2B at 30% and the other 2 at 25%. 2B being the best potential second Platinum character, as Nier Automata is such a powerful and popular game from the last few years, and 2B has gotten around in other games crossing over as well. Dante stays this low for a potential Capcom rep because for as much as we love Dante, I feel there are other Capcom reps who would simply bring more variety to the game, and I feel like they really missed out the chance to announce him when Devil May Cry 5 was relevant, as it is not as relevant anymore. Scorpion keeps his spot as the most likely Mortal Kombat character, but whether he's the most likely Western rep, I don't think so. There's still also the issue of Mortal Kombat 11 not being sold in Japan, which I really think hurts the series more than it helps. Sans also stays at a 40%, with Undertale having grown in popularity enough across the last 4 years for the character to potentially actually make it into the game. Though I wouldn't be surprised if Frisk was the chosen character instead if Undertale gets in. Maybe I'll need to rate them in a main episode. But they're not the only indie character that I feel has suddenly gotten higher hopes. Because I'm letting myself believe, damn it, the Knight from Hollow Knight has risen to a 41% from the 1% I had them at before. I'm daring to let myself believe. With Silksong getting a demo at E3 on the Switch, and with the sheer success that Hollow Knight has had on the Switch platform, and with the amount of Knight supporters that has grown across the last year, the Knight is a potential force to be reckoned with. I personally said once that Hollow Knight was going to be the Shovel Knight of the Switch generation, and I mean that. If any new indie character has a shot at getting in aside from Undertale, I'm convinced that Hollow Knight has what it takes to get a character into Smash, be it the Knight or Hornet, who are now both protagonists of their respective games, so either is actually viable. And if they don't get into this Smash DLC, if another fighter pack comes up, I think they have a brilliant shot, and I think they definitely have a chance at getting into Smash 6. Crash and Spyro both remain at a cool 45% after this re-rate, with both trilogies now on or coming to the Nintendo Switch. Crash and Spyro are pretty much in position to get requested for Smash, but being owned by Activision's a little awkward because nobody is really sure where Activision's head at is, well, there it is, regarding Smash. I can't deny that both characters have intensely passionate fan bases who want to see their characters make it in, though honestly, I'd hedge more bets on a Smash 6 or DLC Fighter Pack 2 than the last 2 slots of this Fighter Pass. They do stay above other characters on this list though because they feel more viable by comparison. Now jumping all the way to 60%, we have a character who has literally clawed their way out of the 0% pool and back up to being straight in contention. Of course, I'm talking about Travis motherfucking Touchdown, who just got a goddamn max revive after the reveal that No More Heroes 3 is officially on its way. Talk about coming back from the brink! As you all know, I've been very high on Travis's chances in the past, and Suda51 has made it clear he'd love to see his character in Smash, and No More Heroes has pretty much supported Nintendo for its entire lifespan. Honestly, Travis has a great shot, either for this DLC or for Smash 6 if we want to go that route. And also at 60%, keeping his spot from the last re-rate, we've got Professor Layton, the Gentleman Puzzle Solver. He is Level 5's character with the most potential to make an appearance. His franchise has been solely focused on by Nintendo. He was a household name to the casual market at one point in the late 2000s, and has been highly requested by his fans for many years now. He feels like a genuine missing piece of Nintendo's history simply because his puzzle titles practically helped make the DS for many years. But there are still some characters who I think have him beat. Next up, moving from the top spot to 6th on this list, we've got Ryu Hayabusa, Ninja Gaiden's primary protagonist. Sadly, I've had to knock him down quite a bit from his original placement. He's a character who certainly feels missing from the roster, but as mentioned before, his gameplay style could play too similarly to Joker, and now the hero, as he does happen to wield a sword, and his ninja aesthetic is already quite covered in the cast already by Sheik and Greninja. While I'm still fairly high on this character, my gut is telling me that it might not be his time. And my gut's been right for most of the time in this series, aside from Steve. Alright, it's time to get the Capcom reps out of the way. This may just be my gut feeling, but I really feel like we could be seeing another Capcom representative coming our way, and if the 4 Capcom reps left to re-rate, well, let's see how it goes. First up, Amaterasu from Okami gets a 70%, a nice 15% upgrade from her original spot. Okami came to the Switch last year and is a beautiful game. Ami would be a brilliant character to bring in on a creative level, as the Celestial Brush could make for an amazing and unique moveset, plus the stage would have to be absolutely gorgeous. But honestly, Ami's one flaw is their franchise is quite small in comparison to my other Capcom reps, and I feel like that might hurt her in the end. Next up, Jill Valentine with a 75%. I don't know about you guys, and let me put my conspiracy hat on. The Resident Evil trailer at Nintendo's 2019 E3 presentation felt a little bit unneeded, don't you think? We already knew that 0, 1, and 4 had released on the Switch, and having that blowout of a trailer just for the release of 5 and 6, which are arguably the worst games in the series in terms of critical reception, left me confused. Until it didn't. What if the Resident Evil franchise is being built up as something to pay attention to? What if it's because we could be seeing a Resident Evil character and our first real horror IP make it to playable status in Smash? But being real, I don't think Jill would be that character. Maybe as an alt skin, but playable, she's competing with a certain someone who I'll be listing very soon. So we come to our top 3, and first up, I am surprised at where I'm placing this person, but my number 3 spot with an 80% goes to Phoenix Wright. If Resident Evil doesn't make it in and Capcom does get another rep, Phoenix is that other rep. I just don't see it going to anyone else, aside from maybe Ami. He's highly requested, has guest starred in other fighting games, has tons of potential for spirits, and a courtroom stage would be amazing. But is he strong enough to take over my top 2 characters? I'm not sure. Maybe my thoughts will change in the coming months, but number 2 goes to Doomslayer with an 85% chance score. My gut is really wanting me to trust it here, and everyone's been preaching that this is Doomslayer's chance. If another Western rep gets a shot in Smash, having it come from Bethesda does make sense, as Bethesda's been great at supporting the Switch so far. Doomslayer also doubles as a marketing pick due to Doom Eternal, which is also coming to the Switch this year, and Doomslayer has also been seen across multiple leaks over the past 6 months to boot. But, and honestly, I'm actually surprising myself here, my number 1 spot goes to Leon S. Kennedy from the Resident Evil franchise with a 90% chance score. I thought about it. I thought about it long and hard. And no other character has been on more consoles and had their best game re-release as much as Leon, aside from maybe Skyrim's Dragonborn. Resident Evil 4 is considered to be one of the greatest games of all time, and Leon is at the heart of that. He is easily Resident Evil's best protagonist, ironic given he never meets Wesker, Resident Evil's best antagonist in the series, and always seems to be on side missions in his games, but he's the most recognizable character from Resident Evil, and would be amazing to see in Smash Bros. It's time for a horror IP to get the call, and Leon needs to answer it. And that, my friends, is today's Re-Rate Their Chances. I may do another main episode, as there are a few characters who I'd like to cover that might now be in contention, and I may do an assist trophy episode as well to focus on which characters have the most likely chance of being upgraded, as there have been a few rumours floating around. But I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I make daily gaming videos, not just Smash, so if you like variety, I can be anything you want, baby. I'll see you guys— I'm never saying that again, Jesus Christ. No, cut it. Cut. Billy, delete your channel. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.